top of passing EOs that are an explicit violation of the 14th Amendment, on top of explicitly trying to rig, coup, and steal an election from Biden in 2020, then admitting to it in court, I want you to respond to the meat on the bone, and I don't want your response to be just to pivot to what some other Democrat said about some other thing that Donald Trump did, which is a view that I don't. Take it away, without the mental gymnastics this time.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. Okay. So I think we have a problem here with the meat on the bone, because you're saying that when the Supreme Court tells Donald Trump doing something is unconstitutional, right? I think you think it's unconstitutional for him to say, I don't care. There's nothing unconstitutional about that. Let me ask you a question. Just because the Supreme Court says something's unconstitutional, again, we're getting back to this, are they always correct? Because if you were saying that, then, well, hell, Lincoln, again, in the 1860s, should have just listened to the Supreme Court because it's constitutional, and should have never gone after to free the slaves or anything like that, because it was, quote unquote, constitutional.
Okay.
You're not in law school.
You have an echo. Fix that echo. Okay. All right. Well, you're obviously not in law school if you just asked me if whatever SCOTUS rules about the Constitution is always correct legally speaking. Because the obvious answer there would be yes. Whatever SCOTUS rules about the Constitution.
It was great for the... Okay, wait.
Okay. Yeah, go to make the equivocation between correct
legally
speaking.
No. I'm talking about legally speaking. Legally speaking, there are mistakes that the Supreme Court makes, legally speaking, all the time. There's no legal mistakes. The Supreme Court members literally in opinions admit they made a mistake when they ruled something.
Yeah, that didn't mean that the standing of the ruling was still true.
The standing of the ruling, absolutely, but they make legal mistakes.
If the standing of the ruling held, then it would have been unconstitutional, violated it, and the ruling would have thereby been constitutional.
Okay, again, but I'm saying Donald Trump didn't do something that's quote unquote unconstitutional. I think at the time, a lot of times, the Supreme Court is going to rule something. Okay, let me start over. Excuse me, I apologize. Dean, when Donald Trump, for example, say, I don't know, give me one of the instances you say he broke the Constitution.
He broke the Constitution in deporting Abrigo Garcia.
I disagree.
Okay, what's your legal standing? Because my legal standing would be a unanimous ruling from SCOTUS. Cute. This is a law student? Damn. While he's doing whatever the hell he's doing, let's see here. Let's see. Finn, 20 minutes ago, the $25 donation over on PayPal. Finn says, watching your streams is a highlight of my day, so thank you, and you are amazing. Finn, thank you so much for the love. Everybody watching, go ahead and show some love to Finn down below in the comment section. As well as Taylor, thank you for the $20 over on PayPal. Saying, I'm sorry that you have to hear the same arguments over and over and over again. Trump supporters say the same thing and they talk in circles. Yeah, that guy talked in circles the whole time. He left. Thank you for the love, Taylor. Show some love to Taylor and Finn down below. As well as Lauren, thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal, saying watching your stream is so satisfying. Keep up the good work. I appreciate you for the $20 donation. The very kind message, Lauren. And then Kristen with the $10 saying, I've been thinking about yesterday's court ruling. Yeah, me too. That was a bad ruling. Thank you for the love, Kristen, Lauren, and Taylor. I really appreciate you guys for the love. As well as Hannah, thank you for the $20 over on Venmo. Your lives have made me go to college, and now I'm going to be a civil rights attorney. Bro, let's go, Hannah! Show some love to Hannah down below in the chat. That is awesome news. Holy crap. For the $20 as well. Cassandra, thank you for the $2 over on Venmo. As well as I'd like to thank Logan. Thank you for the $10 over on Venmo for the gas for your trip out to Aspen. Yo, dude, Logan, thank you. Actually, as soon as I end this live in around 20 to 30 minutes, the first thing I got to do is, go pack my bag. But once I'm done doing that, I got to hop in the car and go put a full tank of gas in the whip. So I appreciate you for that. That's incredibly kind of you. Let's go and move on to the next guest. Yeah, everybody, I'm going to be ending the live here in about 30 minutes. I know that I'm going to be ending it a little bit early today, but yeah, I'm driving out to Aspen for a day or two to do an event. And yeah, he's coming to Colorado. Well, I live in Colorado. I'm just going to be in Aspen. Is anybody in here from Aspen? It'd be crazy. Yo, V3R, thank you so much for the Galaxy. I appreciate that. What's going on? Do you support Trump?
Yep.
Phenomenal. Mary, thank you so much for the $50 over on PayPal. Thank you for the love, Mary. Mary says, I become addicted to your show and watch and listen to you while doing other things. You give me so much help for the younger people. I feel like your third grandmother. So proud of you. You're a one of a kind. Keep going. We need you, Mary. I love you. That is so incredibly kind. Show some love to Mary down below in that comment section for the insane love. Seriously, once again, it means the world. Thank you so very much. That is so incredibly kind of you, Mary. Thank you so much. Show some love to Mary down below. Then once again, if you're watching and you'd like to support me, my Venmo, my PayPal can be found in the Linktree in my bio. I've been trying to read off every single donation that has been incoming, and I really appreciate you guys so much for the love. It goes a very long way. Welcome in, Peyton. Go ahead and take it away. Tell us why you support the man, the myth, the failure. Donald Trump is president.
Yeah, sure. So I'm gonna be completely honest about it. I didn't choose him because of policy. I didn't choose him because of his years in term as a president before, because since he might have experience, obviously.
Oh, God.
The reasoning why I actually did was, what's the things where you will go on stage and you'll be like, rooting for yourself to like vote as, like, for people to like vote you as president. What are those called again?
Like the rallies?
Yeah, rallies. At certain rallies, like if you look at the one that Kamala Harris had, she had Megan Thee Stallion, dude, and like there were like little kids there, and she had them like twerking on stage, and I thought that was pretty inappropriate. And I know that Trump had
dance party with Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce. Okay.
I mean, I felt like that was pretty immature. I mean, as a group.
Yeah, Donald Trump's literally a rapist.
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't think that is proven. I don't think that is proven. I don't think that
it's been proven by civil court.
Oh, then I didn't know that. But regardless, I just think that from that stance in itself I thought it was immature, and like I don't want any like problems here with anyone here. I had a vote at a certain time, and I want to speak on it. And I might think that Trump, in a sense, in a way, showed more maturity that day than Kamala Harris did at that certain time.
Donald Trump has openly boasted about perving on like naked teenage girls. He's held civilly liable for rape. He said on a 10-year-old sexualizing them. He said that he did his daughter if he wasn't his daughter. What the hell are you saying?
Are these proven?
Yes. Every single thing I just said has either been proven in court or something that Donald Trump has admitted to, like on recording.
Okay. I don't know. I would compare. I would have to compare that Megan Thee Stallion is not the equivalent of Kid Rock. I would think that.
Okay, who'd you rather have, a rapist or like Megan Thee Stallion on stage for 20 minutes?
You mean the girl that slept her way to the top? I would rather have. Well, actually, I don't think.
Oh, say it! Say it! Do it! Do it! No, seriously, I want you to continue that statement. I really want you to continue that statement. Yeah, tell me that you would rather prefer the rapist over the woman because you're a misogynistic POS. No, please say it. Bless my ears. Bless my ears with the music. Come on, let me know.
Last year I voted Joe Biden, so let's not do that. So
I'm so sorry. This doesn't like respond to my argument whatsoever. Joe Biden's not a woman. You just about said that you would prefer the rapist over the woman that slept her way to the top. I gotta ask you a question. Why do you say that Kamala Harris slept her way to the top?
Vice president.
Why do you say that Kamala Harris slept her way to the top?
I would say this personally. Like, if you look at her personal life and look at all the things that she's done personally, and then you look at the people who she was involved with, it was a lot of men. And I would personally say, for what I would think, I think she did that.
Okay, so what men was she involved with that just made it evidently clear she slept her way to the top?
Okay, bet Joe Biden.
Wait, you think that she fucked Joe Biden?
Yeah, I do think so.
Dude, this is honestly just like, this is so fucking gross and misogynistic. Like, oh my God. Like, let me just explain this to you. Imagine that you were born a woman, okay? Let's just imagine that for a second. Imagine that you were born a woman and you excelled in your career because you were an intelligent, educated, sharp, incredibly well-rounded individual with good personality and a nice brain on your shoulders. You went into politics. You started as an attorney. You worked your way up to DA, AG, senator, and then you were able to run as a vice president on a presidential ticket under Joe Biden, okay? And then just because you're a woman, now shut the hell up, just because you're a woman, then all of a sudden you have shitty men such as yourself that go out there and say, well, no, the only reason she is in this position is because she probably slept with Joe Biden. The only reason why you say that is because you are a deplorable POS misogynist, okay? You've never said this about any man. You've never said this about anybody but Kamala Harris because you cannot handle the fact that there is a woman that is successful to the extent of not just being better than you, but also being better than your quote-unquote icons, the 34-count felon rapist. All right. I think it's deplorable. I seriously just think it's so disgusting. And you know what? This is what leads to men being absolutely isolated. One thing that isn't talked about enough is how this toxic masculinity, red pill culture, obviously we talk about it and how it has bad impacts on society, on women. But something that we don't talk about is how this has bad impacts on the people that spew this bullshit. Like, dude, Payan, you go out and you tell anybody that Kamala Harris was the VP of this country only because you thought that she slept with Joe Biden, you are never going to get a date in your life.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there'd be a lot of women here who are in the red pill that pretty much would agree with that too. And the other stance is that I'm not actually a red pill. I've voted for many people who actually aren't red.
Okay, we're just going to break down your misogyny. Watch this. Why do you think Kamala Harris slept with Joe Biden in order to be the vice president to his presidency?
So you're asking me, why do I think she slept with Joe Biden?
Yes. That is exactly the question that I'm asking you. Here's exactly what's going to happen, because I have a crystal ball. You are going to fail to come up with any reason. You are going to stumble trying to find any specific evidence to indicate that this is true. And then ultimately, when you fail to provide any reason, evidence, or explanatory power behind this belief, that's when I will step in and I'll say, thank you so much for proving that you're a misogynist and the only reason why you're saying this is a woman. Take it away. But I just crystal balled the hell out of you. That's exactly what's going to happen.
I don't base my things off of evidence. I actually base my views off of like a personal feeling, the way that you guys do as blue pills. That's what I do.
Okay, great. So exactly as I just said, it's actually worse than I said, because I said that you'd fail to find any evidence and you just like stumble upon trying to find nothing.
Congrats.
But
Yeah,
no, you make the
congrats.
concession in less than 3 seconds that you don't have any evidence for what you believe in and that you're literally just dictating this specifically off of your feelings. Oh my
From the
God.
start, I
Yeah.
said I was
Oh, you know what? And so instead of building your beliefs off of reality, you build your reality off of your beliefs. Now,
I said that in
tell
the
me
first
what
place,
what might be driving this feeling? Okay, what is driving the feeling that she slept with Joe Biden in order to be his VP?
What's driving the feeling? It's just how she acts, the way she acts around other people.
Okay, so
the way
specifically,
she
what has she
presents
done? In what ways has she acted to indicate that she slept with Joe Biden?
One, the thing with Megan Thee Stallion, that is bop culture right there.
So having Megan Thee Stallion on stage meant that she fucked Joe Biden. I'm sorry. Do I need to like explicitly detail how there's like absolutely no connection between those two events and it just makes me
Again,
look
that's a
insane?
personal feeling, and I'm going to explain to you, but you...
Oh, look at you and your big feelings, little bro. I'm so sorry that you haven't developed
You have
your
big
brain
feelings.
since you
You're
were
a
4
blue
years
pill.
old.
What are you on about?
Listen, man. Holy shit. Dude, I just feel like you're actually not even a human. Like, you're like an alien from Mars. And that must mean it's
biologically
true.
I am.
I just feel that, you know, like the earth isn't round. It's not even flat. It's kind of like a donut shape. And like, obviously my evidence for this is yesterday I had like a nice cup of coffee before I started my live stream. And you know, obviously you could point out that me having a cup of coffee before I started my live stream has literally zero connection with the shape of the earth, but it doesn't fucking matter because at the end of the day, it's just my feelings and I wouldn't appreciate it if you critique those feelings.
Yeah, it's your feelings.
Right, exactly. So see how I was able to point out that your feelings here that dictate that Kamala Harris had slept with Joe Biden in order to be that position is basically to the feelings that a toddler experiences when they close their eyes and think that they're invisible to their older sibling or parent trying to find them in a game of hide and go seek?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Phenomenal. And what does that make you?
What does that make me, Dean?
I'll spell it out. STUPID.
STUPI. As not, but okay. You can say that if you want. The thing is, though, is that at the start of this, I've done actually said it was all about my feelings. I've done said that, and then you were to cooperate. And
Why did you request to join to debate? Like, this is actually a good faith. This is a genuine question.
Because I want to.
How am I supposed to debate your
prove
feelings?
to me personally why I should have voted for Kamala Harris in that certain time, and I want you to prove to me why, if I had a certain feeling, and if I was to only view it from a rally stance, why should I have voted for Kamala Harris if I looked at her rallies, if I looked at everything around me, if I looked at the certain amount of groups that certain rallies had, and if you looked at that from a certain view,
Sure,
Trump
I'm about to give you the most compelling reason in the world why you should have supported Kamala Harris.
Okay, and like, there's no
Are you ready?
there's no beef here. Let's hear it.
I want you to critique this reason. I want you to tell me why.
I want
my
you to answer
reason-
that. You have
Okay,
to answer
I'm going to answer it, but I want you to
Okay, right
critique
now.
my answer. I want you to tell me why my answer is insufficient in giving you like motivation to support Kamala Harris. Okay.
Okay, bet.
I think that you should support Kamala Harris because I feel like it.
Okay, bet. That's a great feeling.
So go ahead and tell me why that answer to your question was insufficient with giving you justified motivation to change your worldview.
All right, I'll bet. I'll answer back. I understand your feelings and I get how you feel, but on another stance about how you feel, I can have a personal feeling too. I can have my own certain views and standpoints.
Okay, so then basically like 3 seconds into the debate, if we are just to operate off of feelings, we basically just come to the conclusion that I can't grant any
your feelings
explanatory
are right
power
and
for
my
what I
feelings
believe, and you can't grant any explanatory power for what you believe. So if you don't believe that we could grant explanatory power for what we find to be the case, and this is the best way to explore and know more about the world around us, you would agree, therefore, that we shouldn't use any objective form of reasoning that serves a purpose of creating explanatory power, such as the scientific method, such as like scholars in education, academia, etc., like such as institutions of research, right? Academia, the scientific method, and institutions of research serve ultimately no purpose, since the ultimate standard for truth is just how we feel, right? And because academia, for fields of research and the scientific method don't ultimately amount to feelings, and they explore like the useless field of like objective forms of reasoning, we should outspell them from society and like get rid of them, right?
Yeah, and when it comes to
Did
that,
you say yes?
say yes to what?
The fact that we should outcast all other forms of reasoning from society, because the ultimate standard of determining like knowledge or learning more about reality would be our feelings.
On what stance though?
On
Because there's
any
certain
stance.
things that on any stance. I wouldn't say on any stance.
Okay,
I
so
would
what
say that-
kind of stances do we need explanatory power to justify, and what kind of stances do we not need
I would-
explanatory power to justify?
I would put a stance on it if it is your personal belief and your feelings as a person. As a human being, you obviously have the personal beliefs as a blue pill. Obviously, correct?
Okay, so you're saying that we don't need explanatory power to
You didn't
justify
answer
our
that.
beliefs?
Yes or no? Do you have the stance on blue pill? Correct?
I don't even know what you mean by blue pill. Oh, do I have the stance on
Democratic Party. dude.
summa
The
gano-
Democratic Party. I think we all know what blue pill is. The Democratic Party.
I share some beliefs with the Democratic Party. I don't share others.
Okay, great. And with that stance, you have
Jesse, thank you so much for the $50 donation over on Venmo. Jess says, absolutely love the content I listen to daily. Continue to own these idiots. Oh, well, yeah, we're definitely owning them today. I really appreciate you so much for the $50 donation. Can we please show some love to Jesse down below in that comment section? Let's get at least 500 Jessies down below, y'all. Let's get at least 500 Jessies down below. As well as Shelby, thank you so much for the $20 over on Venmo, saying, have a safe trip, and here's a little something to get you munchies on the road. Thank you for speaking up for all of us women who are sleeping our way to the top. Me and my family love you, Dean. I love you too, Shelby. Guys, please show some love to Shelby and Jesse down below in that comment section right now. Show some love to Shelby and Jesse down below in that comment section right now. Thank you guys so much.
John 416. Thank you for the donation to the Republican Party. Thank you.
Oh, you're crashing out.
I'm doing it too.
But the difference is you didn't get a
I'm having
donation. I did.
fun. I'm having fun. Come on, a little bit of fun. A little bit of fun. Come on.
Okay, so I mean, at this point, I don't really see any like further reason to
Okay.
continue to debate, because
Well, I
ultimately,
just wanna
like you
speak to the
basically
actual
you don't
debate.
get the right to speak. Get the hell up. I don't really see a continued purpose like in this conversation, because ultimately, I was able to reduce you down to saying that we need to reject all forms of intellectual reasoning, and it is only the case that the only way you can reason the conclusion that you should support Trump is by rejecting reasoning.
No, I didn't say that. I said on a certain stance. You actually didn't make my claim, or let me make my claim until you said someone else's name.
The
saying-
certain stance and reference would be the stance that makes you support Trump.
Yeah, and that would be your personal beliefs.
So then once again, what I said was true.
Beliefs.
Well, once again, what I said was true. The only way you could reason the conclusion of a stance that you should support Trump is by rejecting reason.
The same reasoning, how you feel that your vape pen is an anxiety pen, dude.
Yeah, I was like cute. Now I actually addressed what I said.
Like, no, you haven't answered that, because like your feeling is that that's an anxiety pen when it's actually a vape pen. So I want you to answer how you would personally feel if someone else gave their reasoning and their feelings about your vape pen.
Wait, you think I'm fucking? You think I'm serious about the pen? See, this is why we had to stop the joke, because conservatives are so low IQ they can't take a joke. Get the hell out of here. Honestly, so that was a new strategy. So let's just go ahead and decompress what we just saw while we're hopping into the next debate. That guy employed a new strategy. The strategy that he employed was telling us that he supports Trump because he rejects logic, he rejects reason, and he rejects evidential stance beliefs. Stances related to a belief based upon evidence. So, yeah, no, we had fun there. Get owned. Welcome in, Lexi. Do you support Trump?
I actually don't.
Based alert. W Lexi in the chat while we move on to the next guest. Here we go. Let's go and load up that next guest here, y'all. Who's next? Make sure if you're in that queue, that means that you support Donald J. Trump. Will you still deny up in the box? Jaden, thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal, man. Dude, show some love to Jaden down below in the comment section. That is Jaden. Jaden says...
Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome in, man. Jaden says, gonna miss you when you're on break, but you deserve it. Watching your lives makes me audibly gasp sometimes. Thank you for being on the right side of history and calling out these terrible people, Jaden. That is so kind of you. Thank you so much. I love you. Show some love to Jaden down below in that comment section, everybody. That is Jaden. Thank you so much, seriously. Will you still deny? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, man.
Okay, how old are you?
Huh?
How old are you?
I'm 19.
19, and what time is it?
It's 2:48.
Phenomenal.
I live in Florida.
Why do you support Trump?
Huh? Because, my parents did, and I don't really see nothing wrong with the guy, he's a really likable guy,
Okay, I'm gonna give you something wrong with him. Are you ready?
All right, I'm ready.
He's been held civilly liable for raping a woman.
Huh?
He's been held civilly liable for raping a woman.
Oh, wow, that isn't valid, I'm not gonna lie.
He's hit on a 10-year-old.
Oh, wow.
He's boasted about walking into women's changing rooms to look at the naked women.
Oh, wow. He actually did that?
Yeah. He said he dated his daughter if she wasn't his daughter.
What?
Yeah.
This is preposterous.
Okay, and he's a troll.
What?
Moving on to the next guest. We got Veins coming up in here. Here we go, everybody. Hello, do you support Trump?
Cookie King Mogzu.
So real. Do you support Trump? I guess not. Moving on to the next guest. Here we go, everybody. Give us a minute to get that next guest up in the box, y'all. We're just looking for one last Trump supporter of the day. We probably only have time for one more debate. Everybody. Hello, do you support Trump, Luke? Goodbye, Luke. Bye-bye now. Goodbye. We got MH King loading up in. Last debate of the day here, y'all. Last debate of the day. Once again, hey, if you want to support the stream before I hop off for the next day or two, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio. I get 100% of the proceeds over on those platforms. As well as, I think I've been doing pretty good at shouting out everybody and reading off all of y'all's attached messages. Welcome in, MH. Are you MAGA?
Hell no.
Based. I would really appreciate it if all the liberals could stay out of the queue, because I seriously only have 10 more minutes. I want to try to get one last debate. Hi, do you support Trump?
I do.
Oh, God. Ew, why?
I think he purports more of a Christian ideology compared to Kamala Harris.
How so?
Why you laugh at that, man?
Because I think it's like abundantly false, but I'll let you make your argument nonetheless. How so?
Okay, so I think that just like the social issues that he speaks on and like critiquing the social issues that we see today in society is very prevalent within like the young mind, right? So he can cultivate that kind of culture, not necessarily like he himself has to adhere to Christian ideology, but since he's speaking on these social issues with such like grotesque manner, it
like
provokes. Like I would say like abortion. I would also say like the. I don't know if I can say it on TikTok Live, like TRANS.
They're back to being pretty restrictive. You'll get a hate speech ban if you talk about trans people.
Okay, so that, but like just like all these other like different like normal like I don't know how to say it, but these social issues that are like prevalent within society, he talks about them like a lot.
Yeah. I think that he should be pro-choice. I think that's the fact that he's pro-life is a reason to not like him. I'd say that the pro-life worldview leads to human rights violations against women and girls, reduces the qualities of life on average, purports lower levels of education, lower wages on average, and higher levels of poverty.
That doesn't necessarily like disprove or discredit my opinion.
Well, if your opinion just once again isn't really considered with the empirical outcomes of these things, but it's rather that we should just like adhere to this Christian view. Well, I mean, I just reject the Christian view. I'd say that there's no good reason for adherence if it only promotes bad outcomes.
Well, you're literally like a party to why I think that it is true, because you yourself had like seen these like things that Trump is doing bad, right? In order to do that, you would have to come to some moral conclusions on different social issues, which you have. Right, and I think I agree majority of the part of like what you.
Okay, well, I mean, I think that I could justify my moral conclusion. So how about you justify yours?
I'm not saying your moral conclusions are wrong. I'm saying your moral conclusions are right, and I'm saying that the fact that you had the like critical thoughts in order to go to that type of conclusion, right? That's why I think Trump would be a good president, because you like. Let me say this right. Like you,
I'm sorry, man. Now I'm lost in the sauce because I think where we left off on was you saying that you support him because he reports these Christian ethics, and then I was just going to ask you to justify those Christian ethics. And now, like, you seemingly you don't want to do that. And what I'm getting off of you is you're basically just saying that they're true because they're true.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Let me clarify real quick, okay? So what I'm saying is right. Like I'm pretty sure whenever Trump was first put into office, right? Like you had some like differing opinions whenever he was, correct?
Right. So I had opinions and still have opinions on why I don't like him. How does this relate to your review?
So yeah, this is what I'm going to, right? So he doesn't necessarily have to adhere to a Christian ideology. For the majority of the parts of your moral deductive reasoning, I agree with, right? Like the things that you hold like viable.
You don't understand my critique. I'm saying like him like socializing the idea that abortion's wrong. That's something that we shouldn't want. That's something that's bad. We don't want that. You're saying that's a good thing. I'm asking you to tell me why that's bad.
I agree with you saying that's a bad thing, but I'm saying that in order for you like this to cultivate within society to be such a big prevalent issue, it has to be spoken on like on the main stage to like a different manner. And I think he speaks about it so grotesquely, it allows for the entirety of society to come to critical conclusions of like your moral basis.
Oh shit. So did Hitler.
Dude, you're still not getting what I'm wrong. Like, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying,
Dude, I've heard like three possible arguments so far. I thought that the first argument that you're making was that you support Trump because he's against abortion and he gets more people in society to be against abortion. Is that your position? Yes or no?
No.
No. Okay. So then the second position I think that I've heard here is that, well, he's against abortion. It's very grotesque, but this just inspires more critical thought and gets individuals such as me and you to come on live and talk about these things in a more like logical, like cohesive, intellectual way. Correct?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's your position?
So I think that's an important part of my position.
Yeah,
yes.
well, so did Hitler. All right. You know, like bad people tend to do that. When bad people do bad shit, individuals tend to turn around and protest that bad shit. Rather it's through like activism or through like having like intellectual discussions about why it's wrong to try to convince other individuals not to hold to the same views. I would say that this is going to be an expected outcome every single time a bad person does something bad. So basically, right, your logic would imply that anytime a bad person does something bad on a large stage in front of a lot of people, it's actually something you support because of the conversations in which it would start. And there's actually another way that we could frame this conversation because it's basically just a take on utilitarianism. You're essentially saying that, well, when a bad person does bad things, it basically sparks a lot of good outcomes by people being more like wary of those bad things, being more like mindful of those bad things.
No, my first premise was saying.
So then why do you support a bad person doing bad things?
No, I never said that. I said the first premise that I proposed to you was that since he's speaking on these social issues with a grotesque manner, it invokes like society to have more critical thinking on it.
Yeah, now, I accept that. I don't think that's a good thing though. Like I like, listen, man, like in the same way, like let's imagine like this hypothetical that like a woman got raped when she was 14 years old. She grew up and she became one of like the most efficacious civil rights activists ever. She was able to completely eliminate grape culture in America. And this is all consequential of her originally being raped when she was 14, even though, right, her activism and her critical thoughts surrounding that action of her being raped and promoting more mindfulness about grape and harm against women and like the broader society, that'd be good. This still doesn't mean that she should have been raped in the first place, right? So in a very similar note, although that we can agree that like this is a good outcome, the silver lining of the Trump presidency is individuals being more mindful of these conversations, being more critical, and engaging more like nuance and more intellectualism to discover like why what he believes in is wrong in a more intellectual manner. This still doesn't mean that he should have been president in the first place. And because this doesn't mean that he should have been president in the first place, either you have to reject that he should be president right now, which means that you don't support Trump, or you just have to give some other argument insofar as why he should be president.
Yeah, I reject that because it kind of puts me in a state of a false dichotomy. So I don't necessarily have to say that I do condemn him on his actions, but I can also purport like or saying like a reason why I support him was because of the things that he's doing right now, which is invoking thought inside of society for more cultivating conversations about like political issues.
Oh yeah, I already gave a rejector ad absurdism to that view. Once again, that's basically a bad person does bad things, but it creates a good outcome. The good outcome in this circumstance would be more critical thought of surrounding these issues, and that good outcome justifies a bad thing originally being done.
Yeah,
My reductio ad absurdism to this position was a woman getting raped when she was 14, growing up being very critical of like rape culture and harm against women. She goes out, becomes the most successful grape activist ever in America at any point in history. She ends grape culture. That was a very good outcome from the bad thing that happened to her, but does this mean that that bad thing should have happened to her? Yes or no?
Yeah, false dichotomy again. I reject the hypothetical.
Wait, I didn't even give you a dichotomy. Wait, what do you
want? Analogous to the situation. No,
what's a false dichotomy? You're misusing the phrase.
I guess I'm using it synonymously with a different term. But what I'm saying is that I'm saying like you are putting me in a position of a hypothetical that is not necessarily analogous to the situation that is at hand. Right.
Okay, so repeat the original argument that you gave, then repeat the hypothetical that I gave that was synonymous to the original position that you gave, and then go ahead and verbally state what the difference between the two scenarios is that makes them uncomparable in a logical sense.
Of course. All right. So the first premise that I gave to you was saying that, hey, that since Trump is having such a grotesque manner of speaking about these social issues, having these political thought processes that allows society to like kind of get riled up in the sense of like promoting more political thought. This in turn is good for society because invoking more political thought is good, right? Now it's not analogous to the situation because the person that you're referring to instead of the hypothetical you gave me had something vile and deconstructive done to them, which doesn't necessarily it doesn't cohere to the other argument that I gave to you.
Okay. All right. Well, then I just need to explain to you a little bit more about what the use of an analogy can be in a debate. So they don't need to be cohere in all senses, including those in which would be irrelevant to the given position. If they did need to cohere in all senses, including those in which would be irrelevant to the given position, well, then it wouldn't be an analogy. It would just be the same thing. Think about it. Maybe if like you give me the argument that like you were pro-life because you think that all living humans have the right to life, right? And then I use the example of a brain dead patient to say, well, thereby you think it's murder to pull the plug on a brain dead patient. Well, I mean, obviously there's going to be a list of differences between the brain dead patient and the fetus, such as the fact that a fetus, right, is not brain dead. However, right, that would be a difference. That would be true in one scenario, not true in the other. However, this difference would be irrelevant to the point of your argument. The point of the argument being that you would grant the right to life to all humans that are alive. So very similarly, in the analogy that I'm giving you, I could absolutely agree that in the scenario I granted in response to your position, the harm would have been caused by the individual in which was inspiring the change. And then as it relates to your position, the harm would have been caused to the individuals in which Donald Trump would be speaking down upon, or who would be suffering the negative consequences of the policy that he's implementing. However, this difference would be irrelevant in the sense that what I am comparing very specifically is an action that we look at, we say it's bad, and we can't say that it's a good action just because of the good outcomes in which it would generate, such as in the analogy I gave you in of grape culture in America, or in the position that you originally gave, like a higher level of enlightenment as it relates to individuals having critical conversation about American politics, policy, Donald Trump's rhetoric, and Donald Trump's statements/beliefs. So I hope that describes how the difference that you were able to point out is ultimately irrelevant to the logical comparison I made. And the logical comparison I made still holds to be true under the pretense that you think that a bad action is good, given that it generates some good outcomes in turn.
Wait, so do you think that all like good actions that have all outcomes that have good actions necessarily are bad just because they were born from bad actions?
No, that's not specifically what I said. I do believe sometimes that an action can be good based upon the outcomes in which it would generate. However, I do believe that this is not going to be true in all scenarios, and I believe that we could just like intuitively agree that this isn't going to be true in the scenario of like somebody.
You and I agree.
This isn't going to be true in the scenario of like somebody having their human rights violated. This would be true as it would relate to like a woman being raped, and this would also be true as it would relate to a woman being denied access to an elective lethal abortion without any overwhelming compelling reason due to the fact that that would be a human rights violation of her right to bodily autonomy. So because Donald Trump's rhetoric and policy has resulted in human rights violations, I don't believe any like good outcomes such as like a higher level of like awareness of these conversations is going to like override the original harm caused by the human rights violation.
So you don't think that it's an ultimate like a good consequence just because it's contingent on the fact that he is violating certain things?
Well, now you're equivocating and misrepresenting my argument. I never said it's not a good consequence. I just said that good consequence doesn't mean that the action that it began with was good in turn.
Yeah, so I think you just kind of misheard me. I said that you don't think it's ultimately right for this to be like a good thing. Like it shouldn't be like the most important factor inside of like the reasons why you should support Trump because it doesn't override the contingent factor of it being born out of a bad thing.
It doesn't override the contingent factor of it being born out of a bad thing, and then that bad thing generating negative consequences alongside the positive consequences, such as 66 million human rights violations upon American women and girls. I'll obviously take a worldview where individuals are slightly less intellectually stimulated as it relates to like philosophical conversations about the nuances of abortion, compared to a worldview in which includes that nuance with 66 million human rights violations because American women and girls are having their right to abortion violated upon. Also, I mean, earlier using the term false dichotomy, I also think that you are suggesting a premise of a false dichotomy. I don't think that those two views would be exclusive. I think that we could have a view where women and girls have access to abortion and there's more nuanced thought as it relates to these conversations.
So yeah, so you know where I'm about to go with this. So then I was about to ask with you, saying just because like, all right, things that are inherently bad, right, and they have good consequences subsequently from that. So would you agree, right, now necessarily like, yeah, Trump is a bad person, but yes, these things that he's promoting inside of society are good things. Like this specific situation, like enlightening society, would be a good thing. Now, then I would have to ask you, what would be like the contra to the argument?
I mean, I just gave it to you.
Yeah, but
what is better than that is like not having the 66 million human rights violations.
Yeah, but you also said it's not
position on abortion.
Yeah, but you also gave the hypothetical. The hypothetical you gave me was based off of a woman who had something. Her bodily autonomy was violated, which is completely grotesque. But I'm saying that's the reason why it's not analogous to the situation. The thing is happening.
The 66 million American women and girls that have lost their right to access elective lethal abortions in America, and like 26 of our states are actively having their right to bodily autonomy infringed upon.
I understand that. I completely get that. What I'm saying,
it is analogous because in order for like society to be having these nuanced conversations about like abortion policy or the philosophical moral underpinnings, right, it would necessitate that Donald Trump holds to the bigoted position that abortion is wrong and people shouldn't have access, which would thereby imply the real world outcome of these American women not having access. So yes, like your view does indeed hinge on these 66 million American women not having access to abortion in America. And if you like to argue that it doesn't hinge on it, right, then you're going to say that it's wrong. Well, then you'll have to explain to me why it is the case that in reality, in the world that we live in, it does, right? Because right now, 66 million American women and girls have no access to elective abortions.
I fully understand that. You restated that like 7 times. I'm completely clarified on your position inside of this hypothetical.
This isn't hypothetical. This is reality.
Okay. Well, the reason why I think that it's not necessarily pragmatic from the situation that you gave me was because it was a like basically what I would deem 2 bad things born out of a good person, right? So a good person had their bodily autonomy violated. Now I'm giving you wait.
You're still talking about the analogy of like the woman getting raped and then turning around and like ending grape culture in America, not justifying the original action.
You flip-flop my argument.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I've completely moved on from that scenario because I find it much easier just to argue the pragmatics of what's happening as a result of Donald Trump. Like, what would you prefer, right? Individuals to be more in line about intellectual conversation about abortion with 66 million human rights violations, or individuals being slightly less intellectually stimulated without more conversations about like the philosophical underpinnings of abortion without 66 million human rights violations?
So now you're changing the question.
Yes.
Okay,
this is just a significantly better question.
Yeah, you're pivoting from the last question to a new question, even though you gave me the first question.
I mean, when you say pivoting, what do you mean? Because like I'm giving you a significantly better question that's going to like better fit your intuitions and the parameters in which you've set forth, given your position. I find it more productive for me to offer you this position compared to the last one because it will be easier in defeating your view. It'll also be more clear for the viewers because I'm no longer making like a little bit of a far drawn out hypothetical to a woman getting raped in any rape culture in America, and I'm just simply asking you a very like clear comparison of would you prefer 66 million human rights violations plus a little bit more enlightenment as it relates to intellectual conversations about abortion, or a little less enlightenment as it relates to intellectual conversations about abortion without 66 million human rights violations?
So then concede that the hypothetical that you initially gave me was wrong.
Okay, well now you're actually setting up a false dichotomy. Just because I've chosen to give a better one doesn't mean that the original one I gave you was wrong. Like, think about it this way. Do you like chocolate ice cream?
Then why give me a different one?
One second, I'm going to show you. Do you like chocolate ice cream?
I do like chocolate ice cream.
Is there any other ice cream that you like more than chocolate ice cream?
Honestly, No, like mint chocolate chip, maybe, but like no.
Okay.
It's like
so
a
so
toss-up.
you like mint chocolate chip ice cream more than chocolate ice cream? Oh well,
No,
because
it's
you
like a
just told me that
toss-up.
you like mint chocolate chip ice cream more than chocolate ice cream. This means that you must now concede and tell me that you don't actually like chocolate chip ice cream.
No, I'm just saying. No, like I'm saying it's a toss-up between the two. I didn't say I necessarily like one more, but I'm saying that.
Okay, well then give me a
it's
comparison between two ice cream flavors. What's one that you like one more than the other? Do you like
I,
chocolate more
I
than vanilla?
really, I really couldn't tell you. I really couldn't tell you.
Oh well,
dude.
now you're just being dishonest.
No, I'm being so serious. I'm being so honest with you. If you give me any other any other type of like question.
Okay, what's your favorite soda?
My favorite soda? Oh, that would have to be Dr. Pepper.
What's your second favorite soda?
Cherry cola.
Cherry cola. Okay, do you like cherry cola?
Yeah, I do.
But you like Dr. Pepper more than you like cherry cola.
Yes,
So then go ahead and concede and tell me that you don't actually like cherry cola.
I like that less. Yeah,
Oh, phenomenal. So you're just able to tell us that you think that both of the flavors or sodas are incredibly valid. You enjoy both. However, you think that one is more enjoyable than the other. So how this would relate to your question, getting me to concede on the last example that I gave you. No, it is still the case that the last example that I gave you would hold to be the case. However, I do find the new scenario in which I've given you to be more indicative of what's actually occurring in reality. So it's closer to the modal scope of the real world. It's also going to better fit and serve your intuitions. You would push back against the other scenario that I gave you. Didn't make this scenario invalid, but I'd rather give you a scenario in which you don't have pushback against. And three, I think it'd make it more clear to the viewers watching because I'm no longer employing some hypothetical, but I'm actually talking about the real world consequences of your position. Your position being the fact that you think that Donald Trump is a good president, that you enjoy him and his policy because of this good outcome of individuals being more intellectually stimulated about good discourse relating to the philosophical underpinnings of abortions. However, in reality, this necessarily comes alongside the downsides of his anti-abortion rhetoric and policy, that being 66 million American women who have had their human rights violated and do not have elective lethal access to abortion. Now, the alternative view would be less intellectual conversation about abortion, but we wouldn't have those 66 million human rights violations. So which view is preferable? More intellectual conversation about abortion with 66 million human rights violations, or less intellectual conversation about abortion without 66 million human rights violations?
Can I not agree with one part and then not disagree with another part from both sides of the argument?
The reason why you want to be able to do this is because it is true in the world we live in that yes, we do have more intellectual conversation about abortion. However, it's also true because of what caused that intellectual conversation about abortion. It also caused those 66 million human rights violations.
Yeah, that's where the disconnect is. I don't think that it necessarily is contingent off of one another, right? So like just because I don't think that the reason why the most like more intellectual, like I'm not even
Wait, are you denying that because of Trump we have 66 million American women and girls that don't have access to abortion? Unbelievable.
I think you're strawmanning my argument. I don't think I've ever said that. What I'm saying is basically saying
So then did he cause it or did he not?
it's a culmination of different factors that I'm using.
Did he cause it or did he not? Please tell me.
Okay.
No, answer my question. Did Donald Trump cause 66 million American women and girls to not have access to abortion?
More than happy to, but you did not answer my question firsthand, so I'm going to. No, you didn't ask. You didn't
Jesus
answer my
Christ.
question.
This guy's just a sophist, everybody. So if you're curious of like what this guest has come up here to do, he's come up here to engage in sophism. He's come up here to be absolutely unreal. He's come up here to try to purport a view that's just not true of reality. He's trying to argue that, well, he likes the silver lining of the Trump administration, that being sparking more intellectual conversation about the nuances of abortion, etc. And like Dean is being like super based and like super commonsensical and just pointing out, well, right, the same thing that is sparking those conversations about like the intellectual nuances of abortion and so on has also caused the implementation of Donald Trump's bad policies, such as the fact that 66 million American women don't have access to abortion. Okay, obviously, if we didn't have Trump, sure, we wouldn't have that silver lining in a conversation, but we just also wouldn't have those 66 million human rights violations as it relates to women's restricted access to abortion. And now, for whatever reason, he's trying to argue that like we can have this silver lining without having those 66 million human rights violations. No, we can't. Donald Trump overturned Roe v. Wade. That's a position that Donald Trump supports. He wants abortion to be in the hands of the state. So as long as he is president, as long as he's anti-abortion, as long as he does not think that that women and girls should not have elective access to these things, right? Those 66 million American women and girls will not have elective access to said thing. Okay, and it's the fact that those 66 million American women and girls do not have elective access to abortion is what is sparking the conversation about abortion in the first place. Like, do you think I get on live every day and I talk about how like the immediate issue in America today is the fact that there's so many women that don't have elective access to abortion? Do you think I do that for some other reason than the fact that those women don't have elective access to abortion? Do you think I'd be talking about abortion as much as I do if Adriana Smith wasn't treated as a literal human incubator because of Donald Trump and his policy? Do you think I'd be talking about this as much as I do if there wasn't 66 see great victims every single day that are denied access to abortion? Absolutely not. So that silver lining of individuals having more intellectual conversations about these things is directly caused not just by Trump's rhetoric, but also by his policy. So these things do come together.
That was not in the confines of the debate that it was proposed to me. Okay, I'm not saying I would agree. Hey, let me get about like a good minute of just agreeing with you, so that you can have a basis of understanding where I'm coming from. I would agree that it would be sophism, but what I'm not trying to do is like kind of like find a silver lining. But the confines of the debate was like, why do you support Trump? I gave you a reason why I support Trump, and you don't think that it's held to the same level of validity as your position. While I'm still condemning the same things that you condemn, but I'm also like agreeing with the things that are also you agree, but somehow we can't necessarily here together.
Okay, well, let's see. This is okay. Now I've identified the fundamental issue in your position. You are unwilling to talk about the negative outcomes of the Trump presidency. The confines of the debate is supposedly only supposed to be about the positive outcomes of the presidency. So, in other words, no matter what the negative outcomes of the Trump administration are, no matter how much harm they generate in American society or on the global stage, as long as he generates this one specific good outcome of individuals being more intellectual and holding these conversations, you are still going to support him, correct?
No.
Okay, so then it is the original confines of the debates to do comparative analysis of the pros in which the Trump administration would generate and compare them to the cons in which the Trump administration would generate to determine if he generates more pros than cons or more cons than pros. So when you said that that wasn't in the original confines of the debates, you lied.
No, I did not lie, because it says, why do you support Trump? You didn't specify like why would you not support Trump overall compared to the other candidate. What I'm giving you is a reason why, because it's literally on the top of your head. Why do you support Trump? It's not necessarily specifying the same like the level.
Okay, but I'm defeating the reason that you gave us insofar as why you support Trump by showing you that there's overruling concerns of harm that he's generating.
I'm sorry, man. I gotta go.
No, you don't gotta go. Don't run away yet. Because think about it this way: you're identifying no, don't run away, bro. Please don't run. Please don't run. You identified a pro. You said you like the silver lining of promoting more intellectual conversation in America, and then I'm just demonstrating to you that the same thing that is sparking that intellectual conversation is literally 66 million human rights violations. You're getting them at me. You're telling me that wasn't in the original confines of the debates. You have no obligation to even consider this counter argument. You understand that this is just like me saying that I support Trump because he passed the First Step Act in his first administration. Like, obviously, anybody with a brain would respond to that by saying, well, Dean, sure, okay, I can agree with you. The First Step Act was good. He did sign that into law in 2018 while he was serving in the executive branch of the government. But look at everything else that he's done, such as coupping the Capitol, such as trying to rig an election, such as the 66 million human rights violations upon American women and girls, such as the fact that he's been held civilly liable for rape, such as the fact that he was convicted of 34 felonies. Like, obviously, a conversation comparing the pros and the cons of Trump are going to be necessary in order to see if you justifiably support him or not. You can't just isolate and identify one good thing that you like about his administration and then say, yep, that's it. That's a wrap. Is sufficient reason for me to support him.
That's not one thing, though. Saying that society is getting enlightened is a cumulative decision based off of like the nature of politics, right? So like if the enlightenment of like minds across America are talking about these social issues to a higher degree now, that would be a level of validity for me inside of my argument. So it's a cumulative decision that I'm making. It really is a cumulative decision.
But it's not enough validity. Just like you'd be a level of validity in me and my argument insofar as why I support Trump to say that he passed the First Step Act. But just because we could provide some reason doesn't mean that we're providing sufficient reason. Can we agree there?
Yeah, but you're saying I can't condemn the different things that he's done wrong. Well, I think that it's cumulatively like right for him to enlighten the minds of America.
Well, I'm not saying that you can't condemn that in reference for you saying that it's cumulatively right for him to enlighten America. I'm saying that you can't reference that insofar as your claim that thereby you support Trump. So you just equivocated when I said you can't compare.
So you don't think that I can so basically what you're saying is that I can't think that enlightening minds of America can still be like on a higher level than the human rights violations or like condemning the Constitution or a number of different.
Okay, now you're finally getting somewhere. You're finally answering the question that I asked earlier. So you basically do think no, you can. Okay, but let's see if you do. So you basically do think that some level of enlightenment to introduce individuals into more conversation about abortion is more meaningful than prevention of the 66 million human rights violations in which cause that level of enlightenment. Well, just the analogy here is going to be is that you think the Holocaust was good because you're going to think the level of enlightenment related to anti-Semitism, human rights violations, and treating people like people, regardless of their race, regardless of their ethnicity, and regardless of their religion, is going to be more meaningful than the prevention of the Holocaust in the first place, which was the genocide of 12 million individuals, which was portrayed as 12 million human rights violations.
Okay, so I may be in the wrong here. So just like let me clarify another thing real quick. So you think, right, just because like I can condemn the different actions of Trump, right, saying these things are wrong, and I can hold those things accountable for him to be wrong, right? but I'm saying the significant proportion of like America having a level of like political enlightenment cannot be better. Like saying that can cumulatively be better than human rights violations, while still condemning the human rights violations is wrong of me to say.
Yeah, I would say that's wrong of you to say, and I'll demonstrate.
Okay, so please tell me why that's wrong of me to say.
Yeah, do you think all things considered, the Holocaust was a good thing because it inspired more cumulative thought on the global stage, not just in one country like Trump, related to human rights, humans, and treating people like people, regardless of their race, ethnicity, or religion, and so on?
No, I don't think that it should have. Like, wait, I'm so sorry. That was a lot. I got lost.
Do you think
in
the
this last
enlightenment that the world gained from following the Holocaust justify the Holocaust?
No, it did not justify the Holocaust.
Okay, well then why would the enlightenment that America, not the world, that America would gain following 66 million human rights violations as it related to women having restricted access to abortion justify those 66 million human rights violations as it would relate to those women losing access to abortion?
Right. So I don't think those two things are comparable because, like, I'm pretty sure 7 million people like died, right? And then there's like 66 million people that have human rights violations, right? So I can argue from a stance of saying that just because 7 million.
I never said that the two situations were comparable insofar as the level of harm caused, but I definitely did say that they weren't comparable insofar as the level of enlightenment. One inspired,
right. So you would agree
one
that the
inspired
Holocaust was
worldwide enlightenment, one inspired like local enlightenment in one country.
What? So yeah. So you agree that it's worse, right? The Holocaust was worse.
Do I agree that fucking court. Well, I mean, how about
Of course,
this? Actually,
right?
I don't want to compare. I don't want to compare travesties.
Thank you.
But what
That's what. Thank you.
I don't want to
would
compare
like another-
travesties. But I just want to clarify how. Like, imagine that the Holocaust like only killed 500,000 people.
Okay.
Would you say that thereby the Holocaust would have been justified because of the enlightenment that it caused?
No.
Okay, what about 100,000 people?
No.
What about 500,000 people? Oh, sorry. What about 50,000 people?
No.
What about 20,000 people?
No.
What about 1,000 people?
Still no, man.
What about 50 people?
No.
Or what about one person?
I could make a solid argument for that.
Okay,
I can make a
for
solid
50.
argument.
Okay, well,
I can account for one person's-
I would
I can
definitely say
account for
that
one
66 million human rights violations, as it relates to women and girls having restricted access to abortion, is definitely equal or worse than 50 individuals dying. Okay,
Right.
So if you don't think that global enlightenment followed from 50 people dying would justify the 50 people dying, then how can you say local enlightenment in one country from 66 million human rights violations being committed would justify the 66 million human rights violations being committed?
Yeah, but that would imply that they're contingent off of one another, and they're not contingent off of one another.
They absolutely are. Wait, the Enlightenment, insofar as individuals being like,
okay, so
more
now-
intellectually
now-
founded in
okay.
America as it relates to abortion, is absolutely, at minimum, contingent off of Trump being president, right?
So no. The reason why.
What? Wait, so then you don't support Trump as president? If it's not contingent off of Donald Trump's presidency, then it'd give you no reason to support his presidency. You'd
Well, you
necessarily
kinda
have
give
to
like a
argue that
vague,
this outcome is
fast,
contingent
grotesque
upon his presidency
oversimplification of
in
it.
order for you to use it as reason to support him as president.
It's a grotesque oversimplification of what I'm saying. That's why I don't.
No,
like-
it's not grotesque at all. It's absolutely not grotesque at all. You're trying to use this as reason to support him as president, meaning that it must be contingent of his presidency. Whenever we're trying to provide any reason to support a president, we're only going to be evaluating reasons that are contingent of the presidency.
Yeah, okay, I agree that it's contingent off of the presidency, but I don't think it's contingent off the 66 million human rights violations.
Would you say something else that is contingent upon the presidency is the 66 million human rights violations?
Sorry, what?
Would you say something else that is contingent of his presidency is those 66 million human rights violations?
Yes, but I don't think they're
Okay,
derived from
well
the
then,
same place.
wait, they are derived from the same place. The presidency. You just agreed that both of those two things were contingent upon his presidency, meaning that yes, they are derived from the same place.
Can you coherently state to me, right, that those two things are clearly distinct?
I don't understand your question, nor as it relates to what I just said.
There's no two distinctions between the two. So like you can't tell me that it derives from the same place, right? Just because it's on the basis of the presidency, right? There's
Wait, the
action-
basis of the presidency is the place that they're both being derived from, thereby they're being derived from the same place. What are you talking about? You literally
Yeah.
just agreed that they're being derived from the same place.
the presidency as a whole, but the presidency has a different cumulative different factors inside of the presidency that put these or purport these things to society. Would
Right,
you
but
not
we're
agree?
talking about the presidency as a whole because we're discussing why you support the presidency as a whole.
Okay, yeah, but what I'm saying,
Wait,
right,
did you disagree that you're trying to give a reason why you support the presidency as a whole?
okay, yeah, here we
You
go.
did
here we go.
no. Shut up. I want a yes or a no. Are you trying to purport me reason on this live insofar as why you support the presidency as a whole?
Yes.
Okay, so then thereby, because they're both contingent upon the presidency as a whole, my argument is valid.
It's valid, but it's not held to the same level of validity as mine, and I'll explain why.
Okay,
So what?
bro, I'm sorry. This is literally just fucking sophistry. Admit to being a sophist and leave. Like, there's absolutely no intellectual stimulus that is being provided to me or anybody
no
watching by your words.
sophism.
Yes, this is absolutely sophism. You're trying to argue that you could support this like one pro, even though there's all these other cons. Once again, what is a relevant distinction between the argument that you're purporting and the argument that you should support Trump because he passed a first step back in his first presidency? Oh, even though he did like all of these other harms. Or honestly, what is a difference between the argument that you're purporting and somebody saying that they support Hitler because he went to art school and made cool artistry, even though he also did the Holocaust? And then maybe when I point that out, they're just like, well, although they're both contingent upon Hitler, they're like contingent upon different regions of Hitler.
Of course. All right, then I'll explain. The reason why is because I can't hear a contrary argument with that's not using like fallacious or logical fallacies inside of the argument to dictate mine. So just because that you were saying these certain things, right? Like I agree with you for the most part. Like I'm not saying that you're inherently wrong, but what I'm saying is right. Just because that there's there's bad things inside of like a presidency does not mean that it's contingent off of another good thing. So what you're saying is there's a bad thing born, there's a good thing born out of a bad thing, and I'm saying there's a good thing born out of just a thing. Right, and I can also agree with that. There's bad things that come out of the presidency, but I don't think it's inherently correlated with the fact that
So then,
66 human.
so then I could say that I support Hitler because he was really good at art.
No, this.
Why can't I say that? Why can I not? Wait. Tell me why somebody can't say that. Why should somebody say Hitler? Imagine they said that Hitler was a good man because he was really good at art. Why can't somebody say that?
See, this is like just a very disingenuous question.
Answer the question. Don't just call it disingenuous. Actually answer the question.
Okay, I can reject the question because it's false.
Oh,
like,
wait, questions aren't propositions, meaning they can't be true or false.
No, I can reject the question because it's hiding a fallacious internalization, like the fallacious intention behind it.
Okay, so now you're just saying that, oh, Dean, you have bad intention when you ask this question. Okay, you just conceded. Thank you so much for the debate. It was so obviously a waste of my time.
Concede, man?
Yeah, sure, because you're not answering my question. Why can't somebody say that they support Hitler because he was good at art? Would the common sense response to that be because Hitler also did the Holocaust, and the Holocaust was worse than the positive outcomes generated by the fact that he was good at art?
That's the obvious answer, but you're trying to equivocate it to my decision.
Oh, fucking hell. So let's look at how this compares. So somebody can't say that they support Hitler because he was good at art, because he also did the Holocaust, and the Holocaust generated worse outcomes than the good outcomes generated by the fact that he was good at art. So therefore, I could say that you shouldn't support Trump, even though he has inspired more conversation in America related to like nuanced discovery of truths and philosophy of ethics and abortion, because of the overriding harms generated by Trump as it relates to the 66 million human rights violations on behest of American women and girls that have actually lost access to said abortion. You cannot tell me I'm wrong. I'm going to let you try, and it's going to be funny as hell.
Okay, so would you like to argue on the basis of the human rights violations being human rights violations?
See, I won. Because now you have to debate that they're not actually human rights violations. So go ahead and concede the last 30 minutes of debate.
I'm not going to concede. I just said we would have to.
So then tell me why that comparison was wrong.
So would you, before I move on to this point, right, we would both have to agree that we would have to argue the human rights violations being human rights violations.
Yeah, you could do that after you concede that you were wrong, because that's actually the next step. So the first step, would you be accepting that, yeah, Donald Trump, if he were to generate more harm than good in the presidency as a whole, you shouldn't support him. Okay, and that's the point that you've been rejecting for the last 30 minutes. So given that they are human rights violations, me pointing out that those 66 million human rights violations would generate more harm than the good generated via more intellectual discovery about philosophy of truth, you wouldn't have a justified position in supporting the presidency as a whole. Go ahead and concede. Seriously, man.
No.
Don't be the sophist. Just concede.
I will concede to that. I will concede to that contention that you gave to me. But what I'm also like, the reason why I'm conceding, right, is just off the basis of the fact, like, in this specific position, in this very pragmatic presidency, right? What I'm saying, like the relatively.
Just say that you were wrong. I don't want the big words. Just say, Dean, you're right. I was wrong.
Yeah, you were right on the context of that. I agree. But what I'm saying, but I just want to make sure that we can both agree that like the political enlightenment of the world is obviously like a very good thing. It's a very I would hold it with the same level of like importance as like compared to different other things. But just
Boom. Thank you so much for the concession. I ran 26 minutes over when I was supposed to end because I wanted the concession from this office. I cannot believe that it took me exactly 36 minutes to get him to just concede, just to be honest, that if Donald Trump's presidency generated more harm than good, then he shouldn't support the presidency as a whole. It literally took me 36 minutes to yield that conclusion. So that's why I called him a sophist, okay? Because what sophists will do is they will reject the most fundamental, obvious, common sense truths just to debate. And what he was rejecting that was the most fundamental common sense truth that if a presidency generates more bad outcomes than good outcomes, you shouldn't support the presidency as a whole. Thank you so much. I cannot believe it took me 36 minutes to yield that conclusion, but by God, I was dead set on it because let me tell you, I hate sophistry. I hate sophistry so very much. Hate it. I hate sophists. But we are going to go to an end. Before we do, I want to thank a handful of donors here. Matthew, thank you so much for the $10 over on PayPal. I really appreciate you for the love. Maya, thank you for the $10 saying safe travels. Thank you so much for the love, Maya. And Rue, thank you so much for the $20. Show some love to Matthew, Maya, and Rue down below in that comments section. As well as I'd like to quickly thank Owen for the $2 over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Owen. That is incredibly kind of you. As well as Wayne, thank you so much for the $100 over on Venmo. Wayne says, I'm a 1%er who will benefit from this damn big ugly bill. I give it to good people like you. Wayne, you are my favorite rich person. Show some love to Wayne down below in the comment section. Everybody show some love to Wayne. I want to see 1,000 Bruce Wayne W's down below. Wayne, seriously, man, thank you so much for being here. Show some love to Wayne down below. As well as Donnell, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo. Scuba, thank you for the $30 over on Venmo, saying dinner in Aspen is on me. Scuba, I love you, bro. Thank you so much for the $30. And then Sid, thank you for the $25, saying sending you good luck on your trip. I hope it goes so well for you. I appreciate you for that, Sid. Thank you so much. As well as Shelby, thank you for the $20 over on Venmo. Now, everybody watching, I do have to end the live stream. It is around a 2-hour drive up to Aspen. It's 1:30 right now. It's probably going to take me 30 minutes to pack my bag. So I'm going to get on the road at 2. I'll be there at 4. And then I have to be at the actual speaking event at 6. So I'll have 2 hours from the time that I get there until the time I have to speak. That should be enough time to do all the research I need, because I still need to research what I'm actually talking about on the panel. But anyways, I love you guys. I'm going to go to an end. Y'all have a good rest of your days, everybody. Go show some love to Parker. I will keep you updated on my Instagram story with what I'm doing, so make sure to go follow me over there. And have a good rest of y'all's days, everybody. Peace and love. Bye-bye.